a bit. But it seemed he was having trouble stepping back completely and had been here every day ever since. Thomas still lived upstairs in the same apartment he had shared with her mum, the same place Aria had grown up in with her twin sisters. Her sisters had left the island many years before, and she herself now lived in one of the hotel's cottages out in the grounds. She had talked about swapping with her dad, so she could be closer to the hotel if anything happened, and so he could enjoy the peace and quiet a bit more. But her dad didn't really do change. "Oh, just catching up on a bit of paperwork before I leave on my world cruise." There was no world cruise. They didn't have any money for that kind of thing, but her father liked to talk about it nonetheless. She imagined him on a cruise, flirting with all the women, doing ballroom dancing, seeing the sights. He would fit right in. Maybe next year they would have enough money to send him on a small cruise, something in Europe perhaps. It certainly wasn't going to happen this year. She'd seen the finances, and they weren't good. The hotel wasn't in great shape, and that had started to show in the number of guests. Things needed to change, and now she was in charge, she was going to be the one to do it. Aria stepped back. "While you're here, I was thinking of doing a bit of redecorating." He was already shaking his head. "When I'm dead and buried, you can make as many changes as you want, but this place..." He looked around wistfully. "Your mum and I had so much fun decorating this place when we first bought it. We would argue over colours and wallpaper patterns, and she always won. We had no guests here, no staff, just us for 6 months. And we made use of that privacy in every room, believe me." Aria cringed at that image. When her mum had been alive, she and Thomas had never been able to keep their hands off each other. They were always hugging and kissing or holding hands. She had never seen a couple as in love as her parents were. When her mum died, about 14 years before, when Aria had been 16 and the twins were 10, her dad had been utterly heartbroken. He hadn't painted or changed anything in the hotel since, as if clinging on to the old paint and wallpaper was holding on to her memory. Aria had so many ideas of things she wanted to change around here, but Thomas wouldn't budge, and they'd had the same argument many times before. Maybe now he had tentatively retired, she could get things done, at least in the guest bedrooms where he wouldn't notice them. She wanted to push it, but her dad sat down with a heavy sigh, and she noticed how tired he looked. He had been looking quite pale lately, though when she'd asked him about it, he'd simply dismissed it as getting over a cold, or man flu, as he liked to call it. He'd had several appointments at the hospital, but he'd told her that it was because they were trialling some new things for his diabetes. She hoped it wasn't something more. Maybe she should go with him next time. "I can't wait to see Clover and Sky tomorrow," her dad said, grabbing a piece of paper and folding it into a perfect paper plane. "It's been too long since they were both here," Aria said. She loved her sisters, and she knew they loved her, but there was this disconnect between them. Clover and Sky shared this twinny bond that she wasn't a part of. When they'd been growing up, the twins had been completely inseparable, and even though life had taken them in different directions since then, Aria knew they spoke to each other on the phone every single day. The three of them had a WhatsApp group where they chatted to each other, but she knew that Clover and Sky also had a separate chat just for the two of them. Maybe it was the fact that Aria was 6 years older, or maybe it was that she hadn't shared a womb with them. But whatever it was, she wasn't as close to them as she would like. She ignored the tiny seed of doubt in her mind that said it was because she was adopted and not their real sister, because she knew that was more about her own issues than anything they had ever said or done. "I'm looking forward to seeing them," Aria said honestly. It was always nice to have the whole team back together again, minus their mum, of course. Her dad tweaked the aeroplane and then launched it across the lobby. It soared through the air in a perfect arc and landed expertly on top of Noah's laptop. Her dad let out a giggle like a schoolboy caught doing something he